friends and neighbors, our Patreon is finally live. Come join us for exclusive episodes and early access and ad-free episodes, and who knows what else we will add in the future if we can get some patrons. It's patreon.com/mmftg.
1, 2, 3, 4. Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster
Movie.
Fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honeybee.
Fun time, go!
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and neighbors. Welcome once again to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. I am one of your hosts, Precious D.
And I am one of your hosts, Honeybee.
Honeybee and I are a couple of good friends who are making our way through the history of kaiju movies, and now, today, we are at 1974 with Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla.
Holy shit. Bow, 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 bow. I feel like this movie was one of the highly anticipated movies for me when we started this, because it was one of the only things I had ever seen. Not seen the movie, but just seen about Godzilla. Like, I had seen, like, toys, like Mechagodzilla toys, and maybe, I'm not sure, it was just one of the only things that I was familiar with. Like, there was a Godzilla and there was a Mechagodzilla. I'm not sure why I knew that or who I knew around me that liked it, but so when we started this, I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'm finally gonna watch that. And we're fucking here! We made it! I can't believe it!
Yeah. Well, and there's right before we started this whole project, we went to see Kong versus Godzilla, or Godzilla versus Kong, and there's a Mechagodzilla in that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes.
Yeah, it's been, 7 years since Mecha Kong appeared?
Mechanic-Kong.
And now we finally get the mechanical version of Godzilla, Mechagodzilla. Oh, once again, it's directed by Jun Fukuda, produced by Tomoyuki Tanaka, story by Shinichi Sekizawa and Masami Fukushima. So a bunch of names we've seen before. It's a Toho production. 84 minutes, budget of $1.2 million, box office of $20 million.
Damn.
Do you know what the last one had?
Yep.
It stars
Flap,
Masaki
paper flap.
Diamond. Masaki Diamond as Kazuki Shimizu. Kazuya Oyama as Masahiko Shizumu. Akihiko Harata, yay!
Hey!
As Professor Hideto Miyajima. We haven't seen Harata-san in quite a while.
Shout out.
Hiroshi Koizumi as Professor Wagura, Reiko Tajimi as Seiko Kanagutsuku, Hiromi Matsushita as Ikuko Miyajima, Goro Mutsumi as Kuronuma, the black hole alien leader, Shin Kishida as Nanbara, the Interpol agent, Takayasu Tori as Tamura, another Interpol agent, Beru Bara Lin as Princess Nami Azumi, Masao Imafuku as High Priest Azumi. Those are the people on the little island there. Maso Imafuku as High Priest Azumi. No, I just said that. Daigo Kasano as Yanagawa, Alien Agent Number 1. Kenji Sahara as ship captain.
Hey! Kenji!
Isao Zushi as Godzilla, Kazunari Mori as Mechagodzilla, and Kenichi Kusumi as Anguirus and King Caesar. This Kenji Sahara appears to just be a cameo. I mean, it's definitely just a cameo, but it seems like it's on purpose.
Just like a
He's
little
got like
hey.
one line. Yeah, but they make sure to show us his face clearly, and I think they're trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, Kenji Sahara.
And we're all like, clap, 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 clap.
I checked, and he was in several other films or TV shows that year, so it's not like he wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
But it does kind of seem like it was just a bit part. It just had one or two lines, and it did seem like they said, hey, let's get Kenji in here to do this. The fans will like that.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
So here we go into the summary from Wikipedia. Thank you, Wikipedia. Because before we begin though, I wanted to ask you, Honeybee, how is Mechagodzilla like Christmas?
I don't know, Precious. How is Mechagodzilla like Christmas?
He has mistletoes.
That's funny. He has mistletoes. I really wanted him to shoot missiles out of his nose holes.
Well, he shot him out of his fingers and he shot him out of his toes.
Yeah, but his nose holes really look like little guns. I was like, oh, come on. Do it. Do it.
Folks, I'm still sick. We're recording a bunch of these all at once. And I'm going to try and soldier through and make it through this, but I'm a little fuzzy-headed.
I
took no notes.
No notes. I have some notes.
My notes are Okinawa, Lady Scientist, ! King Caesar, guardian deity of the Azumi monarch, love song to a kaiju, and mistletoes. Those are the only notes I took.
Oh my gosh, that is hysterical. Okinawa, mistletoes.
Yes. In Okinawa, an Azumi priestess has a vision of a city being destroyed by a giant monster.
Which it's King Ghidorah, right?
No.
It looks like it.
I think... No, you're right. You're right. I think in her vision, she sees King Ghidorah, but...
Yeah, but we never see him again.
He does not appear in the movie. They just grab some random... It's not a flash forward to this film. It's just a random piece of footage from a previous film.
Yeah, I thought that was so weird that then he just never showed up. I kept waiting for him. But the vision, but the prophecy.
Yes. This movie's just got everything going on. I mean, I think we discussed this before, that in these special effects movies, they don't make necessarily the same kind of distinction that we do between a science fiction film and a fantasy film. Because this has got sci-fi elements, but it also has, these gods and magic and prophecies and just all kinds of shit all mixed in together. And, they don't care. And that's fine. It seems a little odd from a American perspective. In Okinawa, she has a vision of a city being destroyed. Meanwhile, Masahiko Shimizu discovers a type of metal not found on Earth while spelunking and takes it to Professor Miyajima for examination. An excavation led by Mashiko's brother Kazuki uncovers a chamber filled with ancient artifacts and a mural bearing an ominous prophecy. When a black mountain appears above the clouds, a huge monster will arise and try to destroy the world. But when the red moon sets and the sun rises in the west, two monsters shall appear to save the people. Kazuki is joined by archaeologist Seiko Kaneshiro, who translates the prophecy and takes a statue bearing the likeness of Okinawa's guardian monster, King Caesar, to study. Two men stalk them, with one claiming to be a reporter, while the other attempts to steal the statue, but fails and flees. I thought this shady reporter guy...
Aviators.
I was very surprised he wasn't being played by Kenji Sahara.
I know! I thought the same thing. It's a very Kenji Sahara character. Especially the, whole aviator sunglasses, peek behind the corner shit.
But then when we saw Kenji, I was like, oh, he's got a little bit of gray in his hair. he's getting a little older. Maybe doesn't want to be running around doing this nonsense.
Yeah, maybe, but I felt like the gray kind of looked fake.
Fake?
I kind of felt like the gray was like a makeup part like thing for him. Like, it looked fake to me.
It just made me aware that maybe he was getting a little too old for these running around shooting people parts, and maybe would prefer to just be the ship captain. And maybe that's why they're bringing in these younger guys. And with Akihiko Harata, too, he's playing the older scientist who has been researching shit, but he's not the one running around having fights and punching people and stuff. So,
yeah,
I think that's what's happening here.
That makes sense.
I also thought the name King Caesar was weird.
I did too, because I had the dubbed version. I didn't have like subtitles. So, and they didn't call him King Caesar. They called him King Seesaw.
Okay.
And so I didn't know his name was King Caesar until you said it. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, shit, because they say King Seesaw.
Seesaw? Like they're
Seesaw, yeah.
Weird? No, it's spelled Caesar, like Julius Caesar.
In the HBO dub version, they say Seesaw.
Seesaw. Caesar. I just found it odd because Caesar, in a way, kind of means king already. Caesar was a name that then kind of became a title over time. In fact, the Russian word Kaiser comes from Caesar. So it was almost like saying king emperor. It just was a weird name. But, I think it's just some Japanese guy thought it sounded cool and didn't really think about what it would mean in English.
Well, it's a Japanese film.
It's odd to me that they didn't choose some very Okinawan or Azumi name. They chose this Roman name. So I don't know what's up with that.
I thought it was kind of weird, like the whole bit, like the whole gods, statues, shrine bit. I was like, I just kind of felt weird, but I just thought maybe that was just like a culture difference or something. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't really. I was like, what? I didn't really just. I don't know. I just kind of felt like it wasn't necessary to the movie. It didn't really add anything. I felt like. I mean, I feel like it does add something at the end, like when all of the kaiju come out to monster fight. But yeah, I was just like, I was just like, But I just kind of took it as like it's probably a cultural difference thing.
Oh, okay. I'm looking up something here, and it says that his name and appearance are based on shisa, which are artistically embellished stone lion statues common in Okinawa.
Okay, there you go.
Okinawan variation of the Chinese guardian lion. Shisa means stone lion.
That makes way more sense.
In the 1970s, general East Asian folklore were relatively unknown to Western audiences, which resulted in the translators interpreting the name Shisa to be a Japanization of the name Caesar. Toho has since trademarked it, making King Caesar the character's official English name. So this was not the Japanese guys naming him King Caesar, it was the translators assuming that Shisa was related to Caesar when it's not.
I see.
Okay, so
that makes sense.
The more you know.
I was like, I knew it sounded like seesaw.
I do think his appearance is grotesque and disturbing and unpleasant. He looks like a dog with mange.
Yeah.
Because he's furry, but not all over.
Terrifying.
He's got patches of fur. Like he's sick and some of his fur is fallen out.
Yeah. For sure. I feel like also in the last movie, we had to wait so long for like Godzilla to really arrive and get in the movie. And I'm glad we got Godzilla pretty early in this movie.
Following the appearance of a black cloud resembling a mountain, Godzilla emerges from Mount Fuji and begins a destructive rampage, despite having been tolerant of humans within the past years. This is one of those Philo things where the archaeologist lady and the other guy just happen to be on the airplane seeing the cloud outside the window because they knew about the prophecy. They coincidentally are there to see this cloud out an airplane window. Godzilla's ally Anguirus confronts Godzilla, so he apparently made his way out of the fissure from the last movie. only to be nearly killed and forced to retreat. And the people that are seeing this are like, why is their friends? Why is he attacking him?
Yeah.
Kazuki arrives shortly after to check on Masahiko and Miyajima. Godzilla's rampage continues until another, and the real Godzilla emerges and battles it. During the fight with Anguirus, we see he loses a little piece of his skin, and we see a gleam of metal underneath.
Yeah,
So
I was
those of us
so
who are paying attention might realize.
Yeah, I didn't realize it for a while. Like when Anguirus attacks, I was like, "What the hell is this? Why?" My note is literally, "Why are they fighting?" Because I didn't I didn't get it. And then someone says, "Yes, something is wrong. Like Anguirus shouldn't attack his friend Godzilla." And I was like, "Okay." Right. And then, yeah, so it did take me a second. Like, I guess I wasn't paying that close of attention. Or I didn't expect Mechagodzilla to come out in, like, a Godzilla skin suit. So I thought that was, like, a really
like
cool
Terminator.
twist. Yeah. Also, the grandfather character, he felt like such an anime character to me. With, like, his yellow, like, robes and then, like, his like long gray eyebrows and his long gray beard. I just love his character so much. I love the grandpa. Like the way he like walks, he's like bent over.
That's the priest.
Yeah, yeah. So we get the first kaiju battle. It's awkward.
During the fight, the first Godzilla is revealed to be an imposter called Mechagodzilla, a massive robot armed with advanced weaponry made of the same strange metal, later revealed to be space titanium.
Space titanium. Also, Godzilla's blood is red in this film. I was kind of surprised, but do you feel like maybe it's because when we see it, kind of like makes it more real to us, like since our blood is red, like ooh, Godzilla's blood is red. Ooh.
I think it was red in another one.
It was, yeah, in the last one.
But not all the time. I know that in the Gamera movies, they tend to have green or purple or not red blood.
Yeah.
But I can't remember if Godzilla's has always been red. But I know it has been before.
I think it is. I think it has been. But I just wonder if that was a choice because of like how we like connect with him, or if it just wasn't even a thought. You know?
I don't know.
Because when we see the silly like colors of blood, it kind of like makes you think, oh yeah, it's a monster. You know, you kind of like have that disconnect. Whereas when you see something bleeding and it's like, you know, you kind of have that like, oh, like that connection of like, yeah, I don't know. It's strange to think about.
Yeah. Godzilla is severely wounded but inflicts some damage on Mechagodzilla before both monsters retreat. Yeah, in the alien control room, they're like, his head's not working. Recall him. Miyajima hypothesizes, based on Mechagodzilla's advanced technology and composition, that the robot is an alien superweapon. Yeah, you think?
Oh, did we talk about Chekhov's pipe?
Yes. Yeah. No, we didn't talk about it, but that's absolutely what it is. Yeah. During one of the little scenes with the professor, the doctor, and the other people, he says, "Oh, that's an interesting pipe you've got." And he's like, "Oh, yes, I made it myself. It's made out of 2 pieces of metal. It's got his initials written on the bottom in English letters." Mm-hmm. And he describes how, yes, if you take the bowl off of the stem, it creates some kind of electrical field for no apparent reason, just because I'm a science guy and I felt like doing that to my pipe. But it's, of course, going to become important later on.
Yes.
Only it kind of isn't.
Yeah.
Because by the time they figure out to use it, everything's kind of been done already. So, yeah, he has this weird gold and silver colored pipe that will do electromagnetic shit when you need it to. Kazuki and Seiko take the statue back to the temple, but are confronted by the thief once again. During the fight, the skin of half of the stranger's face melts away, revealing an ape-like visage.
Yeah, I was like, what in the Planet of the Apes is this shit?
The intruder attempts to kill Kazuki, but a bullet from an unseen gunman kills him before Kazuki and Seiko catch a brief glimpse of the reporter. Concurrently, Godzilla arrives on Monster Island during a thunderstorm and is struck by lightning multiple times, reinvigorating itself. I was like, is Godzilla performing King Lear out there raging against the storm, but he seemed to be purposely going into the thunderstorm to power himself up.
Yeah, he's like Lieutenant Dan, like, you call this a storm?
Masahiko Miyajima and his daughter Ikuko explore the cave where the space titanium was first found, but are captured by ape-like aliens from the third planet of the black hole who plan to use Mechagodzilla to conquer Earth. That's not going to work out for them.
Yeah.
Don't any of these guys watch these movies? Don't they know this is not going to... Ask the Exlians, they'll tell you it won't work.
Don't misuse
Their
science.
leader, Koronuma, forces Miyajima to repair the robot, while Seiko checks into a hotel and guards the statue. Kazuki leaves to meet Masahiko at the caves, only to encounter the reporter, who reveals his real name is Nambara and that he is an Interpol agent who's been tracking the aliens. So we weren't sure up till this point if this shady reporter... We knew because we've seen these things, that this reporter was not a reporter, that he was up to something.
Right.
But it turns out he's a good guy.
Yeah, I liked that little twist there. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, aviators.
Yeah, he's not an alien.
I'm not going to lie,
alien
though.
agent. He's an Interpol agent.
I do kind of feel like there's a little bit too much people shit in this movie. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're still using the space thing and, like, space people, and that's great. And the storyline is not bad or anything, but it's just like... I like a nice kaiju to people bullshit ratio, even if it's space people. Mm-hmm. And I kind of feel like there's just a little too much people in this one, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, I can't disagree.
The people, when we get a shot of the people walking in front of Mechagodzilla, I think this is my favorite kind of scale that we get of, like, how really big these, like, the kaiju are. Probably that we've ever seen so far up until this movie, of like people to kaiju scale. It was fantastic. Okay, sorry, that was my next note.
He's basically he's in the garage, and they do a little special effect to show the people walking near his feet to give us an idea of how big he is.
Yeah, I love that.
After Nambura and Kazuki infiltrate the alien base and free the prisoners, Kazuki and Ikuko leave to pick up Seiko and the statue, while Miyajima, Nanbara, and Masahiko stay behind, only to be recaptured by Koronuma. That is a lot of names. The next morning, a lunar eclipse results in a red moon and a mirage of the sun rising in the west. I don't know how the fuck this mirage was supposed to work.
Yeah.
I've never heard of anything.
You don't question
like
the prophecy.
And were these happening at the same time, the lunar eclipse? I don't think this makes any sense astrologically.
Nah.
Astronomically, it doesn't make any sense. Cosmologically. The lunar eclipse should be happening at night, not when the sun's coming up. That's a solar eclipse. And a mirage is not going to make the sun look like it's rising from the opposite. If somebody hasn't set up a giant mirror, mirages can do a lot of weird shit, but I don't think they'll make it look like the sun's on the opposite side of the horizon. Anyway, seeing this, the team realizes they have to awaken King Caesar. They meet with the priestess and her grandfather and place the statue in the temple, revealing King Caesar's resting place. As Kuronumura dispatches Mechagodzilla, the priestess sings to awaken King Caesar, and Godzilla appears shortly afterward. This song, what did you think?
Well, I didn't think it was bad.
It's not that I thought it was bad. I just didn't... Like the Mothra song, to me, kind of sounds like a indigenous chant to summon Mothra. Some of the Mothra songs. There's multiple Mothra songs. This to me sounded like a very modern 1970s love song to a kaiju. Not a traditional centuries old incantation to awaken a god.
Well,
and I just found it all very weird. The lyrics just to me seem very much like a love song.
Yeah.
暗い夜の帳が消える朝が来たら眠りから覚めてほしいの私のしさ星の浜辺で待っているのしさ力強く青いコラルを越えて頬の涙を拭いておくれ私の胸で燃えている
I can't remember now what any of them were. I didn't make notes.
I know, I wish I had wrote what they were down, but the note that I wrote down is, she sings the song of the royal family, ? To charm him out like a goddamn snake, LMAO. Come out, Seesaw. And then it's like the music,
But
so
it
she's like
works and-
singing this song, and she's like singing, and it's like love, love, love. And then the music just abruptly stops, and his eyes just glow red. And then boom, he jumps out of the mountain, and everyone is just so happy. And I'm like, what? This thing is terrifying. He's just so, like you said, very mangy dog. He's just like hairy in weird places, and just it's terrifying.
Yeah. So I think he's supposed to look like one of these stone lions.
It's
but
supposed
his ears are kind of
to,
floppy. Yeah, his ears are very floppy like a dog.
like a German Shepherd.
His face doesn't. Yeah, his face is a little more like a cat than a dog, so I guess that's kind of lion-y, but he's got hair on his head and his shoulders, but then most of his torso is bare. There's some hair on his butt, and he's got a tail with a big, huge lump of hair on the end of it, and he's just unpleasant looking. I don't care for him at all. Do not want a toy of King Caesar.
I do not want a toy. Yeah, he's pretty scary.
He's got scales too.
Kaiju
The two
battle
monsters
with pride
join
laser
forces and fight.
beams.
Yes. One or both of them are shooting rainbow
Both of them.
beams. It wasn't clear to me if Mechagodzilla was shooting the beams and then Caesar was reflecting them back, or if they were both shooting them. And why do they have the exact same eye beams if that's what's happening?
Mm-hmm.
But they join forces to fight Mechagodzilla. When the robot tries to escape, Godzilla uses its stored electricity to create an electromagnetic field to attract Mechagodzilla, because that's the thing he can do now. Because he's full of electricity, he can just kind of flex and grunt and make electromagnetism. And so Mechagodzilla's trying to fly away, and he keeps getting pulled back by the magnetism.
Oh, to be a cyborg. Cyborg problems.
Yeah. And then Godzilla tears his head off, causing it to explode.
Which, okay, this moment is like so good because it's like, oh, it's so brutal. It's like a clean brutal because it's a robot, so it's not like bloody, but it's so brutal. But before this, we had this like moment where Mechagodzilla was like, go gadget exorcist head, and like his head spun around like really, really fast over and over and over and over again, and kind of created this like electric fence force field type thing. And so when Godzilla like twists his head to pull it off, I'm kind of like, yeah, but we just saw that his head goes 360. Like, it would have been way cooler if we hadn't, if that moment hadn't happened. You know, I think like we shouldn't have seen, because then when he turns his head all the way around, it's like less dramatic and less like, because we already know it can do that. Like, he still rips it off. He rips his entire head off, so it's still cool, but it's just like, man, I wish they would have left out the Godzilla head turning 360 before, if they were going to have Godzilla, like, break his neck and tear his head off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yes, I agree. Absolutely. Yeah, he turns his head around backwards at one point during the fight, because Godzilla's on one side of him and Caesar's on the other. And so he's trying to fight them both at the same time, and he can just look behind himself by turning his head all the way around. So yeah, it makes it clear that that's not going to break his neck by twisting his head like that.
Yeah.
He can just do that. Then he pulls up and it pops off. While the mortified aliens are distracted, Nanbara and the others free themselves, kill their captors, and sabotage the base, fleeing as it explodes.
And here's the pipe bullshit.
Yes. So they're tied up, Hirata and the other guy. They're tied up, and the Interpol guy is getting his hands untied while the aliens aren't paying attention. And Akihiko Hirata's got his pipe, and he's kind of like, hey, psst, hey, take this. And though he was not in the room when this was explained earlier how this thing worked. But he tells him to throw one end of it at each end of the computer. They got a big, old-fashioned computer console that takes up like 5 to 10 feet with all the little lights and bleep bloops all over it. And if he throws one end of the pipe at one end and one at the other end, it's going to cause this electrical thing you talked about earlier, and it's going to short the thing out. But they don't do this until the fight's already like over. That should have been the thing that turned the tide of the fight. But I think Godzilla's already pulled Mechagodzilla's head off at this point.
Yeah, and it's weird because right after Godzilla like pulls his head off, he just leans in and whispers in his ear, "Good night, you little bitch," and then it just blows up. He just blows up out of nowhere. Like, he just like kablam, just blows up.
Right. But they do the thing with the pipe, and it makes all the computers spark and then causes the entire base to collapse. So we have our obligatory fall of the House of Usher moment here, where the enemy base falls apart. With the enemy defeated, Godzilla heads out to sea, and King Caesar returns to its resting place while the humans rejoice.
This is so funny too, because Godzilla's like walking back into the ocean, and then Shisa just goes back into the mountain with his glowy eyes, and dirt just falls over him to cover him up. Yep.
He sits back down in his little cave and then
so
collapses
random
on top of himself.
Very random.
He appears in the next film, but it says very brief stock footage mistake.
Oh shit.
King Caesar, I mean. So King Caesar is technically in terror of Mechagodzilla, but I guess he's not really supposed to be.
Whoopsie.
And then he will be in Godzilla Final Wars.
Nice.
Which we've mentioned before has almost everybody in it because it was meant to be the final wars.
Yeah, I think it's really strange that we kept King Caesar, but we didn't keep Jaguar for this span of films. Also, these fights were just disappointing compared to the last film. I'm like, they were a little slower. The whole movie felt slower. There was way too much people shit. And also, I also made a note here of I just thought it was strange that we never saw Ghidorah because he was in the Vision. And not only did we see the Vision at the beginning of the movie, but then they reiterate that when they have that moment where the scene of blocks across the TV and she's having that vision, it's showing us of her having that vision again. Then we saw Anguirus, but that didn't really mean anything either. So it was kind of like a bunch of weird random shit, just all kind of thrown together. But Mechagodzilla was amazing. Just incredible. I loved Mechagodzilla. Very cool things. Loved it. But yeah, didn't enjoy the fights as much as the last one. There was too much people shit in this one for me.
So what are you gonna rate it, Honeybee?
I'm still gonna say it's a 4.
Oh, okay.
I still liked it. I really love Mechagodzilla. I had really amped it up too. I was really anticipating this particular film and episode, and I was really excited about it. So I loved it, but yeah, there was just some things that I thought I liked the last one better than I liked this one.
Okay.
But I liked Mechagodzilla a lot. So I am going to give it a 4. What about you?
Okay. Well, I was going to give it a 3, but I do really like just the design of Mechagodzilla. I just like the way he looks.
Same, yeah.
And I don't have one, but I want one. A friend of mine years ago used to build little models of things like Mechagodzilla and similar stuff. Little vinyl models. And I always wanted a Mechagodzilla. So Yeah, I guess I'll give it 4 just for the appearance of Mechagodzilla.
Mecha.
Just how
Hell yeah.
cool he looks.
It's a really good kaiju. It's really good.
But it seems to me like there's more efficient ways of invading a planet than building a robot and covering him with fake kaiju skin, trying to make everybody think. It wasn't clear what part of the plan that was, where they needed to trick us into thinking Godzilla had turned on his friends.
Yeah.
It didn't seem to actually be important.
Right.
It was just so they could have a reveal. It was the reveal for its own sake, not because it had anything to do with anything.
Yeah, totally.
Just so all the little kids watching would go, "What?"
I definitely did. And his like atomic breath is like yellow. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And then it was like, oh shit. Like you said, it was like Terminator. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, he's wearing a Godzilla skin suit.
So next week we will be looking at the giant spider invasion, but then the week after that we'll do the direct sequel to this, Terror of Mechagodzilla. And then that will be the last of the Showa era Godzilla movies.
Hell yeah.
So far I've just been calling all of our episodes season 1. I think when we start the Heisei era, I will call it season 2.
Cool.
Doesn't really matter. Season 2 is going to start the week after season 1.
Hell yeah.
But I just think we'll make that break there. We'll call this. So season 1 lasted like a year and a half. And season 2 will pick up. Season 2 will probably be a little shorter because I don't think there's nearly as many kaiju movies in this period as there have been up until now. But we'll see. So you can watch Terror of Mechagodzilla on HBO, and I think it is also free with ads on Tubi and Pluto and YouTube and all that stuff.
And I recommend it. Do you? I think Mechagodzilla is worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. So join us here next week. Until then, I have been Precious D.
And I have been Honey Bee.
Remember to keep calm and seek shelter in basements.
And please don't misuse science.
We won't see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go. You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review us on your podcasting platform of choice. Our theme song is by the Texicano Folk Rock Punk featuring Lita Lopez. You can support the show, find links to our social media, and even leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/MMFTG.